wanted to see if we can actually try and create a new exciting object called a Pringle in Onshape. We're going to be using a projected curve for the construction of this. You can see it's quite an interesting, complicated shape to try and create. To start with, let's start with a new document. So create a new document. As you can see, I've done a few of the Pringles before. So we're going to call this one Pringle 4, as I've already got 3 of them. Okay, and they come up. Okay, I'm doing this on the PC, and my dimensions, of course, are still in millimeters. Okay, so I'm going to be drawing first of all on the front work plane. So I'm going to click on that and click on a new sketch and swing my view so I'm looking directly at the front work plane. I'm going to start off by picking the corner rectangle and the construction line conversion. And for this, we're going to start from the origin, but we're going to be going up to the top left, so we're dragging in this direction. Okay, I'm not too bothered about the measurement for the minute because we're going to dimension this, so that'll do. Okay, then I'm going to go into my dimension tool and just drag down this line here to dimension this line. This one's going to be 130 millimeters. Like that. And then I'm going to do the side one here, click on that, drag that out, and this one is going to be 60. Okay, so now I have a construction line rectangle drawn there. I'm just going to move the image over a little bit. There we are. Okay, I'm going to take my ellipse tool. Now this is located in the circle tool, but it's at the bottom of it. It's called the ellipse tool. Click on that. I need to find the center of where this ellipse is going to start. So if I move to the top of my construction line rectangle, and I want to hover around here until I see a square appear in roughly the middle, and that's the middle, exact middle of that line there. I'm going to drag out the ellipse. Okay, now you want to drag it to the end where it hits the next construction line point, the vertex there. Yeah, and then I'm going to press to confirm that. And then if I carry on dragging down, the line then continues down for the other side of the ellipse. Okay, so roughly about there. We're going to set the full size for it anyway in a minute. Okay, zoom out a little bit so we can see it. So now I need to just set this distance from here to here. So I'm going to take the dimension tool, click on the edge here and drag out so I have the dimension. As you can see, I wanted it to be 120, but it's actually nearly 120, 119. I'm going to click there and feed in the correct dimension that I want for this ellipse. Okay, and then I'm going to take my scissors tool and just chop off the top half of this ellipse. So I'm left with a semi-ellipse at the bottom here. Okay, and whilst I'm there, I'm going to also click on this point icon here and just put a point in the center here, and then I'm going to put another point in the set at the end there as well. So I have 2 points there. As you can see, these circles are slightly larger than the other corner there. And we're going to use this as part of our construction later on. Right, close that sketch. Now scroll it around so we can now see the right work plane on here. I'm going to click on that and then click on new sketch. And then click on the right side of the cube so I'm looking directly at it. So we can see that we have the origin here, and we're seeing the edge of our shape here that we've already drawn. And again, I'm going to take the square rectangle tool and the construction line tool. I'm going to drag out, this time going to the top right, a rectangle coming out. Now because I've plotted that corner point, it should reach to roughly there, so I know exactly where I'm going with this. So that'll do. And again, I'm going to dimension this. So the bottom dimension of this is going to be 100. Okay, and the height of it, I want this to be exactly 60. Okay, so I have the construction there. And again, I'm going to take my ellipse tool, and this time, instead of doing it at the top, I'm going to do it at the bottom of the construction line. So find the middle point and then drag out an ellipse. get it so it hits the edge of the shape there. So that's right there. Click once and then drag up so it actually hits the top of the construction line there. And again, I'm looking for a height of 120, so I'm getting about 119 at the moment. So that's okay. And then I'll take my dimension tool, click on the shape and drag out this, and I'll set this to be 120. Okay. So as you notice, the ellipse is double the original box height here. Whilst that's drawn, I'm going to take my scissors and just chop the bottom half of this shape off. Okay, so now green tick that and scroll around. I should end up with two ellipses, half ellipses. I'm drawn there. Just put this so you can see it there. Okay, so I've got two half ellipses. The original one is going this direction, and the second one going in this direction. The second one is slightly smaller than the first one. Same height, but a different width to it. Okay, right. And again, I'm going to go back into Sketch 2 and just use my point tool and just put a point at the top of this shape here. There. Okay. And then green tick that. Okay. These points are going to be used in the construction of a part later on. Okay, so I now want to have a work plane that's going to be parallel to this front one, but it's going to line up with this point here. So I'm going to take my plane drawing tool. Yeah. The entity I'm going to base it on is the front tool here, and I'm going to offset that to a plane point. Okay, and there's my plane point there. Click there, and now I have a work plane that's offset from the front work plane but lines up with this mark that we put earlier. Okay, so green tick that. So if I scroll that way, you can see that's perfectly lined up there. Now I want to draw on this new plane 1. So I'm going to click on that, go to my new sketch. It's going to be viewed best from the front, so we're going to click on front. So there it is there. Okay, and what I'm after is a half ellipse that's going to sit here. It's going to be shallower than this deep ellipse here. So I'm going to take my ellipse tool again, go to the center. I've already got this use tool here. Well, I can see the point, but I can't use it yet. So I'm going to go to use projected point and click on that. So that's my projection for it. There we go. Now I can draw my ellipse out from that point. And I want it to go to that edge there. That's the right length for it. So click. Okay. Now I need to set the height of it. And I want it to be about, let's see, let's do 60. No, actually, let's do 50. Out there. Can't quite see it because the word front is involved there. Zoom that up, so 50. So about there. Okay. And again, I can take my dimension tool, click on the edge, drag it out, and then I can accurately put it in there. So I want this to be 50. Okay. Green tick that. Go back into the sketch, and I'm going to lose the top half of this drawing. Yeah, okay. So just take out this section here. Alright, now I can't take out the top section because at the minute there's nothing cutting across it, which breaks it up from this. So I'm going to take my line drawing tool and a construction line together, and draw a construction line from this point across there. Now, let's escape to finish it. Go to my scissors, and now I should be able to take out the top half of the ellipse. There we are, brilliant. Okay, right, green tick that. Okay, so I've got a deep ellipse here on the front work plane, another deep ellipse, half ellipse on the right work plane, and a shallow ellipse on the back, the new plane 1 here. Okay, so what we need to do now is to create a projected curve between this ellipse and this ellipse. So I'm going to go to my tools here, choose projected curve. It wants to have two sketches chosen. So the first sketch I'm going to choose is the one that's on the front work plane, and the second sketch is the one that's on the right work plane. Now that has created an interesting shape there. You can see the Pringle beginning to take effect there. Yeah. Okay. So let's now fill that in. So I'm going to go to my drop-down tool again, pick the fill tool. Yeah. The area that I want to fill is the line that I've just created, the projected curve. So click there, and it's created a saddle shape like so. but I want it to use this curve here as part of it. So I'm going to click on guides, okay? And the guide I want to use is this line here. And what it will do is ask it to follow that line as a guide for the curve. And now we have our Pringle. Okay, green tick that. And that's looking very yummy. Now this is just a surface at the moment. You can see it's a surface here. So it has no thickness. It is just a very thin surface, and that's it. If we wanted to actually make it thicker, what we can do, we can go to our thicken tool here, click on the surface there, and it will thicken it to the default setting of here 5mm, but we could have that, I think it's a bit chunky as a Pringle, so I'm going to have that as 1mm. Okay, there. And now I should have a thicker Pringle sat there. Now you can see that the surface is breaking through the surface here because, and that's to let you know that the two things are joined together. We don't need that surface anymore, so I'm going to hide the surface, leaving just the Pringle. Okay, there. And I think we'll also change the appearance of it. So this part 1 is the Pringle, so I'm going to right click on that, go to edit appearance, and I like my Pringles a bit more sort of golden colour, so I'm going to pick a nice goldeny colour there. That's better. Look at that. Okay, green tick that, and there we have our golden Pringle drawn. We can also lose the work planes by pressing P on your keyboard or clicking on the eyes down the side here. So let's press P, that takes them out of the way there, and there's our lovely yummy Pringle. Okay, hope it doesn't make you feel too hungry.